When your toddler pees on the floor for the third time today, you probably think they're just not ready yet. But what if waiting for readiness is actually what's keeping them in diapers? The truth is, most kids are physically ready weeks or even months before we start. What's missing isn't their readiness. It's our understanding of how to create the conditions for success. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 essential steps that work because they're built on how your child's brain actually learns, not on outdated advice about perfect timing. I know this is hard. You've read the articles, you've bought the special potty with the built-in music, you've waited for every single sign on the readiness checklist, stays dry for 2 hours, shows interest, can follow directions, and yet, here you are, still in diapers, still wondering what you're missing. Here's what no one tells you. Those traditional methods? They're designed for slow, gradual transitions. They assume your child will magically connect the dots over time. But what actually happens is confusion, mixed signals, days in underwear, then back to pull-ups at nap time. Rewards for success that turn potty time into a performance instead of a habit. Your child's brain needs clarity, not complexity. And here's what most approaches accidentally create: confusion about when the rule applies. Underwear at home, pull-ups at daycare, potty praise one moment, diaper convenience the next. Each mixed signal delays the neural pathway your child is trying to build. Here's a pattern documented repeatedly in parenting communities. A child shows some readiness signs, but not all of them. So parents wait and wait. Until one weekend, out of frustration or necessity, they try the 3-day method anyway, without the perfect checklist complete. And what happens? By day 2, the child is signaling their needs. By day 3, successes outnumber accidents. Was the child more ready on Friday than Monday? No. The body was the same. What changed was the structure, the clarity, the focused, consistent experience that finally allowed the brain to connect sensation to action. That's the insight most traditional advice misses. We don't wait for readiness. We create it. Now, most parents think potty training takes weeks or even months. Some pediatricians will tell you to let it unfold naturally over time, and there's nothing wrong with that approach. But here's what you might not realize. Your child's body is usually ready before their confidence is. By age 2 to 3, a child's bladder control reflex is there. Their body can physically hold and release, but the communication loop between brain and body, that's still developing. Think about it like learning to swim. Your child's body can float, their arms and legs can move, but the coordination between breath, movement, and balance, that only clicks through immersion and practice. You can't teach swimming by alternating between pool days and floaties days. The body needs concentrated, repeated experience with consistent conditions to wire that skill. Potty training is exactly the same. The body works, the brain works, but the connection between sensation and action needs to be strengthened through focused, consistent feedback. And that's why the 3-day method works. Not because it rushes your child, but because it removes every distraction and mixed signal so their brain can finally make the connection it's been trying to make. The science backs this up. Those first few days of concentrated practice literally help wire the neural pathway. Each time your child feels the sensation, responds to it, and experiences the outcome, whether success or accident, that pathway gets stronger. So, let's talk about how you actually create those conditions. Step 1. Clear your calendar and commit fully. Before you begin, you need to clear your schedule. Choose 3 calm days where you can focus fully. No errands, no visitors, no splitting your attention between potty training and everything else on your to-do list. This tells your child, this is special, this matters, and we're doing it together. Have small underwear ready, the kind they can pull up and down themselves. Get a potty seat or a step stool for the big toilet, whichever feels right for your child. Stock up on easy clean surfaces, extra sheets, and maybe some enzymatic cleaner for carpets. But here's the crucial part. Preparation isn't just physical, it's emotional. If you're walking on eggshells, anxious about the next accident, your child feels that tension. They start to believe this is something to be anxious about too. So before day 1, reframe how you view accidents. They're information, not failures. You're teaching a skill, and skills require repetition to master. When your energy reflects confidence instead of anxiety, your child absorbs that confidence. The preparation phase sets you both up for success. Step 2, let them watch you. Children learn best by imitation. So let them see you use the toilet. Talk about it casually. Celebrate it as a normal, natural part of growing up. When your child sees that going potty is just something people do, something mommy does, something daddy does, something their older sibling does, it stops being this mysterious, high-pressure event. Narrate what's happening. Mommy's going potty. My body told me it was time, so I listened and came here. That simple language builds their internal script. And when it's their turn, they already know what it looks and feels like. This isn't about making bathroom time a performance. It's about demystifying the process before pressure ever enters the picture. Step 3, ditch the diapers completely. Now, I know this sounds terrifying, but this step creates the clarity that makes everything else work. Pull-ups send mixed signals. Your child's brain genuinely doesn't know when they're supposed to hold it and when they're allowed to let go. Going without diapers during waking hours gives their body instant, unmistakable feedback. They feel wetness immediately. They connect sensation to consequence in real time. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You can't master balance with training wheels on forever. Eventually, they have to come off so the real learning can happen. Removing the safety net, just during waking hours, is what allows your child's brain to finally connect the dots it's been trying to connect. And yes, there will be accidents. That's not failure. That's the feedback loop in action. When your child feels wetness immediately, when there's no diaper to absorb and hide it, the cause and effect becomes crystal clear. That clarity accelerates learning in a way nothing else can. Step 4. Spot the signs before they do. Every child has a tell. Maybe they grab themselves. Maybe they freeze mid-play. Maybe they suddenly get very quiet. Your job is to catch it early and guide them calmly to the potty. Don't ask, "Do you need to go?" Most toddlers will say no, even when they're doing the potty dance. Instead, narrate what you see. "I see your body wiggling. That tells me it might be time. Let's go try together." This narration does two things. It teaches them the language of their sensations, and it removes the pressure of them having to know the answer yet. You're not demanding. You're interpreting their body's signals out loud. From a developmental perspective, this teaches the crucial skill: connecting internal sensation to external response. Exactly what we're training. At first, you're their external alarm system. You're noticing what they don't yet notice. But as that pathway strengthens with each successful trip to the potty, they'll start catching the signal themselves. That's when true independence begins. So during these 3 days, stay close, stay observant. Offer the potty every 30 to 60 minutes, even if they don't show obvious signs. You're creating opportunities for success, and every success reinforces the habit. Step 5. Praise the try, not just the result. It's tempting to cheer only when pee actually lands in the potty. Big celebrations, stickers, treats, the whole production. But here's what developmental psychology shows. When you only reward success, children become performance-focused rather than learning-focused. They avoid trying if they're not sure they'll succeed. Instead, celebrate effort. Praise the trying, not just the achieving. Say things like, "You felt your body's signal, and you told me." That's exactly what we're practicing. Or, "You made it to the potty so fast. Your body and your brain are learning to work together." You're not training them to perform for rewards. You're helping them feel proud of their own growing capability. And kids who feel proud, they learn faster. They stick with it longer. They own the skill instead of doing it for you. So celebrate sitting on the potty even if nothing happens. Celebrate telling you they need to go, even if they don't make it in time. Every step forward deserves recognition, because you're building confidence, not just compliance. Step 6. Stay calm. When accidents happen, accidents aren't regressions, they're data. They show your child's brain is still wiring the pathway. And your response in these moments, it shapes everything. When an accident happens, keep your voice neutral. "Oops, your body went potty before we made it to the toilet. That's okay. Let's clean up together, and next time we'll try to catch the signal sooner." No frustration, no disappointment, no heavy sighs. Because here's what's actually happening in your child's brain. They're scanning your face for emotional cues. They're deciding whether this process feels safe or scary. Imagine learning to play piano where every wrong note was met with visible frustration. How long would you keep practicing? Emotional safety is the foundation for physical control. When accidents happen, and they will, treat them like any other moment of learning. Clean up, move on, trust the process. This calm consistency is what builds trust. And trust is what makes learning possible. Step 7. Build the habit with daily routines. Once your child starts having more successes than accidents, you might think you're done. But this is actually when the real consolidation happens. Keep practicing. Prompt potty breaks at predictable times. First thing in the morning, after every meal, before naps, before leaving the house. Routine builds automaticity. It helps the habit move from conscious effort to unconscious reflex. Here's a tool that's incredibly powerful but often overlooked: reflection. Talk about their progress with them. Say things like, "Remember when you wore diapers? Look at you now. You're using the potty just like the big kids do. I'm so proud of how much you've learned." This isn't just praise, it's identity formation. You're helping your child see themselves as someone who uses the potty. And when that becomes part of their self-image, the habit locks in. It becomes who they are, not just something they do. That's when you know the training has truly succeeded. Now, a common question: what if it doesn't work in 3 days? The 3-day label is about momentum, not a deadline. Some children click on day 2. Others need 5 or 6 days for everything to consolidate. Both patterns are completely normal. If your child actively resists, if they melt down at the mention of the potty, or they refuse to sit even when you know they need to go, that's information too. Back off gently, keep modeling, keep the potty available, and restart when the emotional climate feels calmer. Potty training works best when it feels collaborative, not coercive. Here's a pattern frequently reported in parenting forums: regression after initial success. Your child might have a week of perfect potty use, and then suddenly start having accidents again. Maybe they're adjusting to a new daycare, maybe a sibling just arrived, maybe they're working on another developmental leap. Talking in sentences, climbing stairs, learning to share. Big transitions disrupt routines. And when a child's brain is overwhelmed, it deprioritizes newer skills first. That doesn't mean you've lost your progress. It means your child's system is temporarily overloaded. So stay consistent, stay calm. Trust that the foundation you built is still there, even if it's temporarily hidden. And if you tried this method before and it didn't work, that doesn't predict what will happen now. Your child is developmentally different than they were even a month ago. Readiness shifts, brain development shifts. You're not repeating a failure. You're beginning again with a more mature child, and that changes everything. You haven't failed. You're teaching a lifelong skill, and that takes patience, humor, and love. So there you have it, 7 essential steps that work because they're built on how your child's brain actually learns, not on outdated myths about perfect readiness. You're not just potty training. You're teaching independence, body awareness, and trust in their own capabilities. I know this process might feel overwhelming before you start, but here's what happens consistently. Once you're in it, once you see that moment when your child's eyes light up because they felt the signal and made it to the potty in time, everything clicks into place. You've got this, one flush at a time. Thank you for showing up with intention and patience. You're doing an incredible job, even on the hard days.